He led the political prisoners and hunger strikes to improve prison conditions, viewing it as a microcosm of the anti-apartheid struggle. He initiated the University of Robben Island, whereby prisoners lectured on their own areas of expertise and debated politics. International interest in his plight came in July 1978 when he celebrated his 60th birthday. He was awarded an honorary doctorate in Lesotho, the Jawaharlal Nehru Award for International Understanding in India in 1979, and the Freedom of the City of Glasgow, Scotland in 1981. In March 1980, the slogan, Free Mandela, was developed, sparking an international campaign that led to the UN Security Council to call for his release.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all nations live together in harmony and with equal opportunity. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Despite increasing foreign pressure, the government refused, relying on powerful Cold War allies in US President Ronald Reagan and UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who thought he was a communist.
India in particular was the first country to raise this issue well before apartheid was institutionalized in 1946, but just when we were moving towards our own freedom, taking this matter in the United Nations, and subsequently India was relentless in isolating apartheid South Africa and for the imposition of the mandatory sanctions.
India has supported your movement from the very beginning. The Indian National Congress, in particular, I would like to add, from Nehru to Indira Gandhi to Rajiv Gandhi, that support has always been there at the office, at the headquarters of the ANC, and it was again for me a moving moment because sitting there I was reminded of the role that my husband had played in supporting and helping for the building of that very office.
Our Prime Ministers, Jawaharlal Nehru, who of course was a great influence on the liberation struggles in South Africa, but also on the anti-apartheid struggle, much admired by Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo and their other colleagues. And later Indira Gandhi, and during Rajiv Gandhi's time when he set up the Africa Fund, when he toured the frontline states, that was the peak of the struggle, when the internal movement had also become very strong. And there was the global campaign for the imposition of mandatory sanctions. And there were powerful personalities with whom Rajiv Gandhi had met. And this Africa Fund, people don't realize it is not Africa as a continent. That is action for resistance.
Violence across the country escalated, with many fearing civil war. Under pressure from an international lobby, multinational banks stopped investing in South Africa, resulting in economic stagnation. Numerous banks and finally Thatcher asked Botha to release Mandela, then at the height of his international fame, to defuse the situation. In February 1985, Botha offered to release him on condition that he unconditionally rejected violence as a political weapon. Mandela rejected the offer, saying,
"My father says, I cannot and will not give any undertaking at a time when I and you, the people, are not free. Your freedom and mine cannot be separated."
Mandela's 70th birthday in July 1988 attracted international attention, the Nelson Mandela 70th birthday tribute at London's Wembley Stadium. Although presented globally as a heroic figure, he faced personal problems when the ANC leaders informed him that Winnie Mandela had set herself up as a head of a criminal gang, the Mandela United Football Club, responsible for torturing and killing opponents, including children in Soweto. Though some encouraged him to divorce her, he remained loyal to her. In 1989, Botha suffered a stroke and was replaced by the conservative F.W. de Klerk. The new president believed that apartheid was unsustainable and unconditionally released all ANC members except Mandela. Following the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, de Klerk called his cabinet together to debate legalizing the ANC and freeing Mandela. Although some were deeply opposed to the plans, de Klerk met with Mandela to discuss the situation. Mandela was then released unconditionally and all formerly banned political parties were legalized on the 2nd of February 1990.
I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. I place the remaining years of my life in your hands.
There are talks between him and the regime at that time, and no bitterness. He's talking of reconciliation between whites and the Africans. He thought South Africa cannot be built in tensions, in bitterness, so there should be reconciliation. He appointed a reconciliation commission also when he became the president. Now that improved his moral stature.